After playing just one match in the month of July, the Charleston Battery are back home for the first time since June 29th, and tonight a big task awaits the top end of the Eastern Conference. The Tampa Bay Rowdies are in town for tonight's USL Championship match. Hey everyone, we welcome you up to the broadcast booth for tonight's game. My name's Poppy Miller, alongside me Derek Brawley. And Derek, this is going to be a big one. These two teams split points earlier this season at our Lang Stadium. The Rowdies with a target on their back, 12 games unbeaten at the beginning of the season, and the one leading the charge for the visitors is our one to watch tonight. It's Sebastian Guenzati.
Yeah, Guenzati's in top form, isn't he? You know, he had a bit of a poor season last year with only 5 goals, but this year he's really come into himself. He's scoring all sorts of goals right now, and he's very dangerous, and he's one that the Battery's really going to have to keep an eye on tonight. 12
goals on the season so far. He is in the mix for the 2019 Golden Boot, and Taylor Mueller will have his work cut out tonight. But for Mike Anhauser's side, he's got some firepower back of his own. The Battery 2018 leading goal scorer, Atula Guerra, is back in town.
No, and he didn't take long to get onto the target, did he? So he, score his first goal. But he's a big character both on and off the field. He's a big presence for this team, and as I said, it's like a new signing coming in halfway through the season, so they'll be very pleased to have him back.
One of the biggest matchups of the year for Mike Anhauser's side. Let's hear what he had to say heading into tonight's match.
They play a 3-back system, and you got to get at those back 3. They're very good, they're experienced, they have physical capabilities, but you got to put them under pressure because they're going to attack. They put their wingers up high, they send extra numbers, and they get into the box. So they're pushing just like they did have chances, but it's always a game with Tampa, even in the past 2-3 years. They're solid defensively, we're solid defensively, but I think this game might be more open, and you see us, and we're trying to push and get a little more life into our offense in the second half of the season.
Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It is match day and the sun is finally shining on Daniel Island. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Brawley. We are just about ready to go at kickoff, but first let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup. The Neil Collins side coming in tonight with no Dakite in the back 3, but keeping the same formation, Derek.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go with like a 3 in the back, a holding midfield player, 4 strung across the midfield and 2 up front. Gazzetti, obviously we spoke about him, and Kazanza up top. Fernandez and Johnson again are giving their width, with Doherty trying to really anchor that sort of midfield. and the back three. And as I said, there's going to be a big miss tonight with the centre half being out of play.
The Irishman will anchor the middle of the park. Let's take a look at Mike Anhauser's starting 11. It's been a while since they've had a game under the belt. Bosherwood, the man up top, but a Tuligera on home soil for the first time this season.
Yeah, I think all the fans will want to see Guerra and Lewis, link up tonight. But the width's going to come from Piggott and Higashi, Anunga and Kelly. They're very familiar there, and the back three there, which has been a feature of certainly more of a feature last year than it was this year. And then Kuzminski obviously in goal, he's been solid and having a very good season. So yeah, good match up tonight.
Joe Kuzminski, the only Battery player to have started every single league match so far this season. Of course, Philip Reno, the man that had the cup run. Well, for the first time this year, Derek, it looks like we've had a change of sides. The Rowdies opting to take the Battery's home side that they normally start out on.
Yeah, you can only assume that Taylor Mueller lost the toss and that's what they've done. But I mean, one thing that that I'm sure everyone will see at home, the field is absolutely magnificent. It's back to its best. There was a little bit of trouble mid-season with all the weather they had in Charleston. It's absolutely a superb surface night. It's just been watered. Great conditions for soccer, a little bit overcast. Yeah, really looking good.
Bosherwood to get us underway. The Rowdies sitting in second place in the Eastern Conference. A win tonight will lift them back to the top spot on Mike Anhauser's side, looking to remain undefeated. We're away from MUSC Health Stadium and an early long ball. Nice to have a bit of sunshine here, Derek.
No, it is. It's perfect conditions to play soccer. A little bit overcast. It's not that warm. I'm sure it's going to get a little bit warmer as the night goes on, but no, it's really good. Here we go, the Chants.
An early breakaway. Zach Steinberger on the run straight into the box. Corner making the late run. It's Corner! And the Rowdies have opened the scoring less than a minute in. And the Tampa Bay Rowdies find themselves one up. An absolute nightmare for the Battery.
That's a great start for Tampa, but the Battery, as I said, they just haven't really got going in this game. I mean, there's a bit of a loose pass, we'll see it now, but even here, it's a great ball across. You're still thinking the defenders and the goalkeepers between them can deal with it. That's a great finish for Kazanji. He's not going to get an easier chance than that, especially at this stage of the game.
Lucky Corner, the man to get on the score sheet, his 6th goal of the year. And Neil Collins' side have been firing on all cylinders all season long. Of course, coming in off that loss, though, against New York Red Bulls 2 last weekend, but off to an absolute flying start tonight.
Yeah, and you have to say the Battery look like they've had that 3-week break, haven't they? That's exactly what it is now. Maybe this will wake them up. The only good thing about conceding in the first minute is you've got 89 minutes to put yourself right, and never write off this Battery team. I mean, they just got to get going. They look a little bit lackadaisical right now, but I'm sure this will be the sort of kickstart they're going to need now for the game.
Captain Taylor Mueller's got his work cut out for the remainder of tonight's match. Just a couple of games away from his 200th appearance. Angelo Kelly finds the feet of the veteran Van Shaken for the first time in a while. Derek, the Battery coming out with the 3-man back line. Kuzminski forced out. Gwenzati looping around Bosherwood. Flicks it on for Guerra. Lewis puts it back into the mix. Here's Bosherwood outnumbered. Koku for Gwenzati. Unga tries to step in. Fernandez down the flank, got some pace on him. It's his 18th appearance for Neil Collins' side here tonight. Richards, the Norwich loanee, the left side of this 3-man back system. And how does that change things, Derek, when 2 teams come out with 3 at the back?
No, I think, as you said, if you look at the way the teams have lined up, we saw the graphic, but normally it's like you sort of cancel each other out. The Battery go with 1 up front, Tampa looking to go with 2 up front. And as I said, it just depends on the support play and how confident teams want to play. In the modern game now, teams want to press from the front. That's why they come up with these sort of 2 recess strikers, as they call them here. But as I said, I think it's a straight match-up in midfield here for both teams. It's which team can press the highest and which team can get the most success.
Gwenzati wears the captain's armband tonight, leads Fernandez into the attack. Fernandez across the box, Corner now turns on it. Ground ball, nobody there. Higashi can't clear it to safety. Gwenzati is off the line. Corner makes it 2. And the Tampa Bay Rowdies with 2 goals in the first 4 minutes.
As I said earlier, the Battery just looked like they haven't played for a while. They're all over the place defensively right now. They had several chances to clear that and Collins can't even believe his luck. So here we go. Look, there's a chance here. Look, this should have just been put into touch. It wasn't. There's a bad miss there. Look, and you know, you have to say it's come off the post. There's 2 or 3 chances to clear that. They just haven't done it. The Battery. They look like they're half asleep. Now they have got a game on their hands.
Kasona with his 6th and 7th goal on the season so far. Neil Collins up off his bench, down below, his 2nd season in charge of the Rowdies and his 2nd season as a professional soccer coach after playing for the Rowdies. Done a phenomenal job this year. And the experienced Mike Anhauser down there as well. And we're back underway. Archer opts to go long. Boshua flicks it on. Zico Lewis off to the races.
I think when you have a start like that, you know, letting a goal in the first minute's okay to do it, but letting 2 in the first 4, that gives you a mountain to climb, and now it's going to be a real test for these Battery players, as I said, who haven't played for a while in terms of a real competitive game, and they haven't played here, and you know, they're going to be really pleased to try and get back into this game and preserve their, you know, their record at home.
Coming into tonight's match with just 1 game in the month of July, their last home game being on the 29th of June, a 1-1 draw against Red Bulls 2. On the far side, of course, weather playing a massive impact in these cancellations, and of course an accident which really puts things into perspective. Just want to give a quick shout out and a moment's thought to the El Paso shooting and everybody affected by that. Our thoughts, prayers and love go out to you here from Charleston.
Battery got a game on their hands now, and as I said, you know, now they're going to really need this big crowd, and it is a big crowd tonight, to really try and come out and try and get something from this game now.
Ralph Mob on the far side. Kuzminski quick to react this time. Goes out back, finds the feet of Angelo Kelly, the Honduran. Tar Brian Anunga, room to roam. Not much on for him. Runs out of space, lays a brilliant ball in for Piggott. Romario Piggott. The sliding challenge comes in to save the Rowdies. But a spark of excellence from Mike Anhauser's boys.
That's what they need. They need Anunga to be a big player now. It's a great driving run. Piggott makes a very intelligent run. He just about gets there. I'm not sure it was a ball. Now you see Zico Lewis, he's already scored one from this exact spot early on. You know he can whip it in. And if anything now, if you ever needed a goal for a home team, this is it. If you get this, then it makes the game definitely worth playing.
Zico Lewis with the in-swinger. The Rowdies with every player back in the box. Ground ball to the front post. The danger not over. Taylor Mueller darting in. Kelly to collect. His options, whips another long ball in. Forces the keeper off his line. Boscher were there, but not before Robinson.
That's good goalkeeping there by Robinson. He's come out, he's took command, which is exactly what his team needed, and he come out and made a real good save.
Macklin Robinson making his 3rd start of the season tonight. McCarthy, of course, with the injury, who's been a bit of a mainstay for Neil Collins. 19 games, 19 starts on the season so far.
Tampa Bay, you can't ask for a better start than that. Can you 2 attacks, 2 goals? You know, they're not gifts, but you know, they don't really have to work hard to get the 2 goals. And now they're playing away. They can just keep possession. They're not in a rush. And I'm sure they'll take as much time as they can right now to kill the game and just settle into the game.
Ralph's mob out in full force on the far side, enjoying the sunshine as the sun starts to set on the east side.
You know, you have to look at Tampa Bay. They lost, you know, they're only their 2nd game of the season. I'm sure that hurt them last week. They've come out, they've got a point to prove. You know, they want to get back into top spot. Mike Anhauser's on the screen now. He knows now he's got a big job on his hands to try and turn this game around. He's going to need all his coaching staff to come out and have a go. And I'm sure, you know, he's already making his half-time notes ready now so that he can revigorate his team to try and get back into this game.
Here we go, another opportunity for the Rowdies though. Poku, Fernandez both over the dead ball. It will be Fernandez with the straight strike. Not too far off, but over the crossbar nonetheless.
Going back to my Anna's, you'd be really disappointed in the second goal. The first one, you get it, you weren't quite ready, but the second one, the amount of times they had to clear that ball, and they didn't. And then, as I said, you know, it's, you know, if you give teams 2 or 3 chances, they're going to take them at this level. So I'm sure he'll be very disappointed. And now, as I said, he's going to have to pull out all the stops to get his team back into this game.
Leland Archer pulls it out the sky. In the middle, Poku out wide. Johnson now straight across the box. Leland Archer forced to chase. Good work from the Trinidad and Tobago centre back. Here's Anunga to the feet of Piggott, looking for the 1-2. Guerra in the mix. Well done by Anunga to shield to safety. Van Shake for the Japanese veteran. 2017 Newcomer of the Year, Kotaro Higashi, who paid his way to trials from Japan in 2017, impressed Mike Anhauser, who has signed somebody from Open Trials every year since 2002, and has done a phenomenal job of bringing those young players through. Higashi. Nunda with greenery in front of him, Piggott. Inside the box, it's Zico Lewis, dink ball over Boschuas there, couldn't connect, and Fernandez safety first.
You have to say, give the credit to the battering. You know, they've gone 2 goals down, but they're trying to play now. I mean, I love Tula Guerra getting on the ball, but not in his own, you know, outside his own 18-yard box. He's so much more effective in the final third. It's great enthusiasm to see him go dropping in there to get it. It means that he wants to get back into this game, wants to help his team out. If he can do that in the final third, I think they'll get more from right now.
Slightly offside or so, Zico Lewis thought. Boschua will chase. Guenzati to Steinberger. Comes in with wealth of USL experience. Spent the 2018 season split between India North Carolina FC. 4 goals, 3 assists in the 10 appearances he made. A real creator in the middle of the park.
So he'll be really pleased to settle into a team and have all that movement and just play his way into some games.
Fernandez ground ball, a dangerous one. Mueller. Piggott, Lewis, can't clear. And of course, Derek, you touched on it, but the battery 2-0 down. What have you got to see from them to get back on the front foot?
Well, you know, what you need to do, you need to see a bit of character in your team. You need to see a few of the boys step up and be leaders. You know, Taylor Mueller definitely the team captain. And then you need your creative players. I mean, let's be honest, you've got Zico Lewis, you've got Tula Guerra. But those 2 players alone can change a game. They can bring it. You've got Piggott who can get down the side. Higashi's good on the ball. So they've got players they can do it. And as I said, as the game goes on, they'll play themselves back into the game. Just concede another silly free kick here now. But there's enough ammunition in this battery team to get back into a game like this. As I said, need a little bit of luck. And what they certainly don't want to do is go a 3rd goal down, because then you're then trying to change your whole mentality.
Once again, similar position. Poku, Fernandez both over the dead ball. Fernandez 4th in the USL Championship in assists, 5 on the season so far, really the left foot set piece specialist.
I think Poku, he's had 1 go, he's got his range. You know, to me, I like to see players have another go, because, you know, otherwise you're putting someone in there fresh again. Looks like, though, yeah, looks like he's going to, they're saying they've worked on the training ground.
Goes out wide, Johnson ground ball in. Kelly returns to sender. And this time it will go in favour of the battery.
Now, yeah, you need your big players now. You need your Zico Lewis's, your Piggott, your Anungas. You need them to really get into this game. And as I said, they've definitely been woken up now with this 2nd goal. And right now, looking at the body language of the battery, there's not a lot of fire out there right now. They're playing their way back in. You know, as I said, the best thing can happen is just get yourself a good chance or even a goal and a little bit of fortune, and then you can start to change the game.
Anunga. Bright here in the early going. Someone who hasn't had a game under his belt since the New York Red Bulls game, the last match here at MUSC Hull Stadium after serving the suspension from his red card. And a difficult one for Anunga, of course, who couldn't get a game to serve the suspension, who's ended up out for about 5 weeks now.
Yeah, no, as I said, you know, the Battery players, you know, as I said, it's almost like having a mid-season break, and you can see that from the start. No, they're up and running now.
Mario Pigott out wide to Archer. Archer looking for the delivery. He'll take the corner though, and up comes another chance for the Battery. Taylor Mueller, the height at the back, making his way into the box.
You see Zico Lewis and Romario Pigott there talking to each other. And that's a good ploy now, because now they pulled someone out. They've got 2 players out there, which gives a lot more space in the middle. Some of these big boys should get on the end of it.
Lewis, 3 assists on the season so far, 6 goals on the year, all of which with that left foot. And here comes the delivery towards the back post this time, maybe overcooked a touch. Higashi resends it into the top of the box. Anunga can't bring it down. Maybe a foot race now. Fernandez one-on-one. And brilliant veteran work from Van Schaik. And Zico Lewis steps in to recover.
Zico Lewis again, great work, but you want him doing all his work down the other end, Zico. It's great covering. You know, it's great motivation, great attitude for a young player. Sloppy one there by Angelo Kelly, but well played by Guerra.
Guerra, the Trinidad and Tobago international. Back with Mike Anhauser's side for the second half of the season. Anunga, the fullbacks there. Can't find the connection, takes a deflection, looks like.
Now the referees give a free kick. See, that was really from Anunga's body language. He knew he just got a little tap there, and the referee saw it and supported it.
The man in the middle was that Spala. Kogu to be having a couple of words. So the referee will have a few words in return now. Fan Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues around the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit www.selectsportamerica. Pigott across the box. Once again, another chance, nobody there.
Yeah, I guess he just couldn't get there, could he? He read it, he saw what was going on, it was too good a pass really by Mario Pigott.
Pigott, the Panamanian international. Here's Fernandez. See from Guenzati, who opts to go back. Kone, that anchor in the middle. Space of Dekite, who's serving a 1-game suspension after yellow card accumulation. Steinberger trying to pick his way through the back line. Fernandez, Doherty. Murad looking for Malik Johnson, the Canadian, in his first season with the Rowdies. Spent the last 4 years with TFC2. Canadian Youth International working down that right flank. Nice to have some travelling fans as well in the stadium tonight, Derek. Ralph's Mob on the far side.
No, it's a real good crowd tonight. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's good. You know, underneath us there's a big crowd, and you know it's nice to see fans on the far side. As I said, it's an ideal night. I mean, and they've already been rewarded, these fans, 2 goals. You make all that, when you do all those travel plans and your team rewards you with 2 goals in the first 4 minutes, you're really happy.
Let's see if we can have another look at the earlier opportunity. Mario Pigott with the sizzler across the box. Nobody there to get on the end of it. Arguably the best chance of the match so far for Mike Anhauser's side. Mueller strong out of the back. Of course, Mike Anhauser's side always solid at home, unbeaten so far this season coming into tonight's match. The Rowdies, though, a win tonight, like we mentioned, will put them back at the top of the East. So a massive task for them to get back to the #1 spot.
No, they're in the driving seat right now, aren't they? You know, as I said, they've come out, they've sort of showed their intent, especially coming off a defeat last week, but that's a great win in midfield there.
Guerra waiting for Kotaro Higashi, can't connect it. Wins back the second ball. Looping into the midfield, good dummy by Anunga. Piggott, Guerra on the run. Leland Archer, the College of Charleston product in his second season with the Battery. Just 23 years old. Sometimes difficult to remember how young Leland Archer is because he plays with so much experience.
No, he does, and you know, he's really come into himself this season, and you know, this is the year that he's really established himself as a starter.
Murad into Doherty, the Irishman. Richards out wide to Fernandez. Fernandez one-on-one with Piggott, gets the ground ball in once again. Richards at the top of the box. Poku for Malik Johnson. Johnson looking for a path through, can't find it on that occasion. Can the Battery break away? Interestingly, the Battery have played the Rowdies after their only 2 losses of the season so far. Earlier, they played them at Al Lang Stadium after the Rowdies lost against North Carolina FC. It was a 1-1 draw at Al Lang Stadium. Svanterson and Guenzati, the difference. The Rowdies have never actually won in Charleston. 2 teams that have played each other several times over the last couple of years. Higashi. Working with Atula Guerra. That is going to be Atula Guerra shown mustard in the 20th minute.
I think that's a harsh one. It's one in ones where you're trying to protect yourself, but his arm is high. Catches him just on the face, and the referee's close enough that he can see that he's on the right side. Again, I don't think there's any malice in it. I just think it's a case of trying to protect yourself when the ball's there. And that's what Guerra's trying to say. I'm just trying to protect myself.
Ball out the back by Macklin Robinson. Caleb Richards, the English native, Maloney from Norwich. The Rowdies partnership with Norwich. His previous club with Blackpool. Once again, this time the call will go in favour of Atula Guerra on the far side.
And I think they'll target him now, won't they? You know, every little challenge. I mean, they said that he's back in his own halfway, and he needs to be up in his final third, causing problems and, you know, using his skill and his technique to get his team back into the game.
Kone organising from the back. Jared Van Schaik in his 17th start for Mike Anhauser's side tonight over the dead ball.
I think Guerra's frustration's been shown fully here, you know, and he's old enough to know better, but we know him, you know, his temperament. He's got to calm down, get back into the game, focus back onto the last thing they need. The referee's really making a point of this, isn't he? I think it could come to the point where Mike Anhauser may have to do something.
Taylor Mueller there. Well, if you're wondering what the Charleston Battery are wearing tonight, they are limited edition Pride jerseys. And if you want to get your hands on one, you can head to the Charleston Battery website, find the bidder link, and have a look at the auction that's taking place right now to benefit We Are Family Pride Night here at MUSC Health Stadium. The bidding closes in the 75th minute. so still plenty of time to get your hands on one of those shirts. Let's have another look at Romario Pigott's chance earlier, straight across the box. A begging ball, Derek.
It was a great, but it was too good a pass. As I said, Higashi at the time just couldn't get there in time. He saw the run, he just couldn't, he was just not quick enough to get there.
The battery now really throwing numbers forward. 5 players line up across the top line.
You have to say that they've been matched by 5 players from Tampa Bay that are just happy just now. They've got something to protect. And the battery's going to have to find something a little bit special to get through that back line right now.
Tampa Bay, the best defensively sound team in the Eastern Conference. 9 clean sheets on the season so far. Anunga.
Tampa Bay have got all 10 players in the final third just defend it out. Good shame, good discipline. Now the battery getting a little bit of their own medicine really, because that's what they're really good at. And as I said, they're going to have to really plot their way through if they can.
Pigott looking for the through ball. Boscher was there. Guerra joins him. It's Atula Guerra. A whisker wide. And he would have been offside regardless.
And I think that's where Boscher has got to be bigger and stronger. Boscher didn't need to let Guerra take that. You know, he wasn't offside. You see it again, look. He's not offside here. Guerra's the one offside, and he lets him take it when he touches him. So if Boscher would have just been a bit more selfish there, I think he would have got a shot on goal.
Atula Guerra hungry for his first goal at home. Actually scored in his first appearance of the 2019 season in the last game against Hartford Athletic, which was a 3-2 thriller. Minutes in the books from Charleston, South Carolina. It's Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match wherever you are. This game is presented to you in part by WCIV.
You can see there's little tactical tricks there. What Mike Ann has is looking at Gary, telling him to stay high. So he's asking Boscher now just to drop in. You can see him, he's giving constant directions for Guerra to stay higher up the field and get his involvement in their final third so he can actually try and create something for his team. He's almost got a 2 up front now.
Okay.
Fasano sandwiched. Steinberger. The flick on is there. Kuzminski straight out of the back. Flicked on by Guerra. Boscher almost sets himself up. On the run, Macklin Robinson pumps one into the midfield. Well brought down by Anunga.
I'm a great believer that when teams drop in that much, I think if you go and mash them up man for man, and you've got the creativity that you have in people like Guerra, Lewis, Pigott, Higashi, go and match them up at the back there and pin them in. I think that's what the battery are doing. I think that's what Mike Anhaz is really trying to do now.
Lewis having a phenomenal season so far, both for club and country. Was part of the Bermuda qualifying side for the Gold Cup. They qualified for the first time in their nation's history. And you had the chance to actually coach Zico when he was younger, Derek, with Bermuda.
Yeah, no, he was a young 14-year-old, very exciting player, and you know, to see him blossom as a professional is really, really good to see. But he always had that little bit of creativity. He always had a little spark in him, and he can certainly do things that other players can't do. You know, his left foot is fantastic. He needs some of that magic now.
Archer. Brilliant ball on a dime to Atula Guerra. And no worries at the back for Macklin Robinson. Here comes Poku.
Great run by Poku.
Out wide, Sebastian Guenzotti. One-on-one with Mueller in the box. Ops to the top, Poku once again gets the strike away this time. And just over the top of the crossbar. Space to roam though, Derek.
Great run by Poku, really, you know, and he ended up getting a shot as well. But one of the things I'm noticing about battery, and here, well, let's have a look at this chance again. Here's Poku now, he just tries to clip it over the top. If you look at the battery now, they've got so many forward-thinking players now where they're used to getting back and getting into that real nice defensive shape, it's not quite happening right now. They're sort of defending with 5 and attacking with 5. So right now, Mike Anhau's going to have to do something about that shape, and it's the 2 wide players don't really come tucking themselves in and give them a solid shape. And when someone like Poku drives at them, they look all over the place, and that's something they're going to have to really try and tighten up as this game goes on.
Everybody taking the opportunity to get some hydration on board. Neil Collins down there, who became the head coach of the Rowdies in 2018. Joined the Rowdies as a player prior to that in the 2016 season. Made 67 appearances for the club as a centre-back before transitioning into the head coaching role. It's a new era for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who stereotypically, when you think of what we saw from last year, the likes of Joe Cole and Ristov, a much younger impression out here.
I think what they've done is what a lot of teams do. They've brought in 2 very experienced, top-class professional players who set the tone for how the club wants to operate. When they've left, they've now filled the void with some lot of younger players, and they've got a good link with Norwich City in England. So they've got, I think who they've got Caleb Richards from there. So you can see what they've done as a club. They've established a culture, and now they're reaping the rewards of that culture. So it doesn't work for everybody, but certainly for Tampa Bay and for Collins, it's been a real good bedding in process, having the legacy of the Joey Cole type people.
Talking to Neil Collins before the match, just hearing his excitement of the team, how well they've been doing so far this season. We're excited to see how much more they can improve with the season ongoing. Zati, Tapoku, Fernandez, speedy down the wing. Just a fraction too late on that occasion, and he is going to be shown yellow in the 30th minute.
I think the frustration here is the referee's giving himself a little bit of time to think about that, and then he's given the card. Now, whether that's come from someone there or whether it's a different, I think what Mike Anhaus was talking to the full visual, is it any different to the tackle that happened on Garris a little while ago? So. Sometimes teams feel like you're being victimised when referees are not consistent or not perceived to be consistent. But I think, if you look at that one again, Nunga, was the wrong side, and he's clipped him from behind. The referee's given him the yellow card.
Back and away, it's Boshua, South African. Feet off pivot, nobody there up top. Fernandez. With the Rowdies, local to St. Pete. Wenzati. Nicely done by Leland Archer, who tracks back to the middle.
Now, if we look at the shape now, look, now that the game's sort of gone in, that's a real good defensive shape by the Battery right now, but it's because the game's all been squeezed down there. It's when that transition play comes that the Battery don't transition into that shape quick enough. And that's unusual because they've been doing that all season. In fact, for the last 2 years, it's probably been a main feature of their play, particularly here at home at the MUSC Health Stadium.
The first corner kick of the night coming for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Malik Johnson tracking across to whip an in-swinger in from this near side. The Canadian Youth International has a short option with Fernandez there. The Battery with everybody back in the box to help defend. Malik Johnson, just 20 years old. Referee keeping his eye at the top of the box there. Johnson all the way to the back post. Kuzminski spills it, and the Rowdies make it 3 off a cross from Malik Johnson.
Kuzminski just misjudged that in the air, and he's got underneath it, and then he's twisted as well. It doesn't look good. And that's the last thing the Battery needed at this stage of the game. They were just starting to claw their way back into the game. and now they have a mountain to climb.
Malik Johnson dashing across to Ralph's mob to celebrate with the travelling fans on the far side. Malik Johnson with his first goal of the season, in his first season with the Rowdies. And it's a dream day for Tampa Bay.
To be fair, it wasn't a great corner. I mean, we'll look at it again. Look, it comes whipped in. Look, Joker's mentioned, just gets underneath it, and yeah, he's all like, you know, he twists, he does everything wrong, he doesn't come and get it at the highest point, he twists in the air, and he'll be very disappointed with that.
Back underway for the Battery, who've had, like we mentioned, a spell of games postponed, cancelled, looking to get their feet back underneath them.
I think when you have that long layoff, it can do one or two things, can't it? It can inspire you and set you up, and you can enjoy the rest, and you come out flying, chomping at the bit, as I call it. Or you can have what we're seeing now, is where defensively they look a little bit unorganised, you know, which is very unusual for them at home. Their home record's really under threat now. I don't think it's out of it. I mean, the Battery definitely have enough players that they can get themselves back into this game, but they certainly need to get one before half-time now to give themselves a real chance.
Zati flicks it on, Kasona on the run. Once again, Mueller pumps it back to the midfield. Here's Zico Lewis, ground ball through, it's Romario Pigott. Has Arthur Boschua with him. Ground ball to the top of the box to Laguerra. One too many touches from the Trinidad and Tobago, but he finds Angelo Kelly in some space. Kelly out wide for Higashi this time, ground ball in once again. Nothing to come of it.
And that sums up the first half, doesn't it, for the Battery? The great position, and they never even got a shot off. They got into like several positions. You know, they're conceding goals when they could be clearing it. They should be taking shots. Guerra, you know, definitely is guilty there. He's got to be taking a shot on there. You could even would have said Pigott could have got in. He drove in very well. Could he have kept on going? So things to talk about half-time for the coach. That young man there, he'll be very, very happy. You know, his team's away, they're coming off a defeat, and they're 3-0 up before half-time. He'll be absolutely delighted inside, and all the questions have got to come from the other side of the bench.
Mueller wins the aerial duel. Ellie for Van Schaik. Van Schaik forced to go long. Kone takes a touch or two. Laguerra is on his toes. Robinson finds himself with some time. Oku really has been the creator in the middle of the park so far this match. Anunga. A good turn from Tarbrine Anunga. Finds Zico Lewis, is pulled to the ground, and the referee will give a free kick. And now the Battery put themselves in a good position.
Now he's trying to find out who's going to get. I think he's going to give the thing there, but as I said, I'm sure the Battery players are looking so much. You know, is there a card there anywhere? You know, and that's what Mike Anhauser is saying. What's the difference between that and the Tarbrine and Unga challenge? You know, 5 minutes ago. But this is a good position. Zico Lewis has got a great left foot.
Mike Anhauser celebrated his 25th anniversary with the side last season. Over 200 career wins under his belt. And Zico Lewis, we've seen him from this range before, Derek. We know how dangerous this can be. Does he fancy a strike? He's going to whip one into the box.
I think it's a little bit far out for a direct shot. It looks like it's going to be whipped in.
Lewis whipped into the back post. Mueller is there. Too much contact, says referee Spala.
Zico's trying to get his team going. I think that's just a little bit too high. I think he's got to put that in a little bit flatter with a bit more pace like he does with his corner.
About 7 minutes left of regulation before half-time.
The great thing about soccer is it could be one of them games of two halves. We said earlier, you know, it's the first time the Batteries have gone against, you know, the Tampa Bay have gone against their normal rhythm of kicking into their, you know, towards the Jumbotron. Normally that's what they do second half. So You never know, maybe that could be the spark they need when they come to the second half.
Murad all the way home. Murad joins the Rowdies from the two-time reigning USL champion Louisville City FC. Last season, he made just 13 appearances for the Rowdies. This season has appeared in 20 matches so far. Here the fans getting behind the home side from down below us. Lewis. Or Piggott. Into Guerra. Connect the triangle. Zico Lewis to ground. Keeps the possession. Higashi. It's a good ball in. Guerra left it for Piggott. He couldn't get on the end of it. I've got to say now, Derek, the Battery have been on the front foot as of late.
Yeah, no, they've played the way back. I mean, but you're going to say if you're Tampa Bay Rowdies, you're going to say you're 3-0 up away from home. You're going to let them have a little bit of possession. That's really not what they need there. Not sure what Charles Bryan was trying to do there.
Unorthodox from the midfielder.
If there is, I mean, as I said, defensively, I don't see the Battery getting back into the shape that they're really renowned for. Going forward, I think they've got. Maybe they just haven't got the right personnel out there right now, because you've got Guerra, you've got Lewis, who are both that traditional number 10 player. They seem to be getting each other's way. They haven't really got the width that they had. They've got, Romario Piggott's done well, but Higashi's not really a wide left player where he's going to go down the outside and get crosses in. So, not sure why the referee gave that free kick there. Just getting that a second time. But I just think, their shape, their personnel, maybe they've got to do a little bit of tweaking at half-time just to see if they can, get the most out of the players that they've got out there.
Anunga, too much for Zico Lewis.
They're trying, Zico's made a good run there, and Anunga's trying to give a good little pass. I don't think they've had enough width as they've normally had in games. As I said, maybe the game's crying out for a Nico Rittmeyer on the left side. Someone that can be a little bit, stretch this Tampa team a little bit wider. Piggott's doing okay on the right side. And maybe you've got to sacrifice one of your central players, maybe a Guerra, maybe a Lewis, whatever, just to try and get back into this game. It's a loose one from the goalkeeper there. Robinson.
Leland Archer makes his way up. Can't find a white shirt. Munga picks up the rebound. Here's Guerra. Tula Guerra battling with it. And Tula Guerra is going to be shown a red card in his first match back on home soil. Heartbreaking news for the Battery. One too many late challenges for the Trinidad and Tobagan.
And that's, I don't think you can argue it's a high challenge. He hasn't had his best game. He's been frustrated, and the referee. Really, I don't think the referee's got a choice here. If you look there, look, he does okay, but here now, look, he's definitely jumped into that challenge. He stepped on the ball. It's not clearly hurting, but studs are up, and that's the last thing the Battery needed. Now the mountain they were climbing was high enough, and to do it now with 10 men. That's not a good return for Guerra.
Tula Guerra, the star of the show in Hartford, finding a goal in his first match back. An absolute heartbreak on home soil tonight. And if you Mike Anhauser's side now, Derek, the locker room can't come quick enough. No,
and they'll have to really organise themselves now. I mean, it's really taken away all the opportunity to really go at them. And as I said, I think Guerra was one of those players that it was making it hard. They had the two number 10s, and now they've only got one, and maybe just having that little bit more space around might help them. But it depends what Tampa Bay do now. Is there blood in the water now? They go and try and run up a score? Are they happy with 3-0 and they're just going to drop back in and really make it hard for the Battery to break them down?
Captain Taylor Mueller there, exchanging words with Mkasona.
Whenever a player raises their studs like that, it looks like a stamping actions these referees give it. And obviously,
Tariq Murad looks to be up and okay down below us. And now Mike Anhauser's side down to 10 men, 3-0 down just before half-time. Macklin Robinson to get us back underway.
The job's been made even harder now. So, you know, definitely some thinking. And, you know, we spoke about Mike Anhauser being here for sort of 26 years now. You know, I'm not sure he's ever found himself in this position where he's 3-0 down at home at half-time with 10 men. You know, everything's gone against him. Now he's going to see if there's any way he can pull his way out of that. I think he'll be here for another 26 years.
It's been a tough run as of late for the Charleston Battery. Mike Anhauser saying earlier this week that he has never in his career had a run like this of games being postponed and cancelled. Let's see if his side can make something of the remainder of tonight's match. Murad flicks on Gwenzati. Nunga and Kelly do well to break out the midfield. Lofty ball over and overcooked for Piggott.
A lot of the time, you know, if I put my coach's hat on now, you know, sometimes when you're 3-0 down, you don't want it to be a 5 or a 6 or one of those games, and you think, you know, can you get away with just keeping it at this?
Archer with too much pressure. 4 minutes they've added on time here in the first half.
What you hope now is the Battery players don't lose their discipline. As I think you said it, you know, get in the locker room, let's regroup, let's get a plan for the second half, let's come out and let's see what we can do. The first 10-15 minutes of the second half is going to be crucial. Can the Battery get back in? Do they actually feel that they can play their way back in? And then if that's not the case, then is it going to be one of them games where you just don't go and let the opposition run up a score against you?
Kone out wide for the Englishman. Fans, who's up, who's down? Where does your club sit? Follow ESPN. Follow your club on ESPN.com. Search for the Charleston Battery, then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores and get reminders on the Battery's next home match. Go to ESPN.com now and follow your club. Steinberger through on goal into the box. Offside flag is up. For Lewis. Numbers back to help defend, but finds Romario Piggott. Piggott with the delivery. Once again is Boschua. And just falls wide of the target. Arthur Boschua knocking at the door.
I did say in a strange way, you know, now that Zico Lewis is that lone number 10 in there and he finds that space, you know, he may find Piggott, but it's a great little ball through for Piggott. And he's got, you know, some good crosses in. And, you know, Boschua does great to get there. You know, he's at the corner. Now let's see what Zico Lewis can do. Because if ever a team needed a goal, it's the Battery needs a goal now.
Zico Lewis, the man over the ball down below us. An in swinger from this near side. Height in the box. Opts for the back post. Leland Archer's there. Pumps it back up. Boschua. And over the top of the bar. Took a deflection on its way out. Another corner kick coming your way. Like you said, Derek, a goal desperately needed for Mike Anhauser's side, which could really lift things heading into the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, goals change games. You know, right now, the Battery feel everything's gone against them. They've had a player sent off. They've had a really slow, sloppy start. Goalkeeper's made an error, so everything's gone right now. If you get a goal right on half-time, this could really change the complexion of the game. I'm sure it'll fire up this crowd. I'm sure that could really change the half-time team talk. This could be crucial.
Zico Lewis once again, another brilliant corner. Boschua this time. Get it on frame. The Boschua doing all the work up top as of late though. Let's have another look at this, Derek.
No, it's good. The only trouble is he's got too much of a standing start. You know, if he has a little bit of a run at that and he can attack it, he just got a little bit underneath it. As I said, he needs to have more of a run at that so he can get some power on the ball.
Piggott wins the aerial. referee having a quick glance at his watch down below us. Gwenzati. Mueller comes out on top for Van Schaik. Lewis flicks on, Higashi on the run. Malik Johnson first to the races. Big ball over. Angelo Kelly tracking back, Van Schaik caught high. And nicely done by Angelo Kelly, who wins the foul.
Again, what the battery players are asking again is, how's that a foul? How's that not a card? And as I say, every tackle now, that's what they're going to be saying now, just to get, again, that always happens when a team loses a player, especially for 2 cards. I think the referee, that was just right there. He goes, he's tugged him. I mean, you can see there's definitely called there for a yellow card. And I'm sure that, Mike Anhauser will certainly be looking to have a word with him at half-time.
45 minutes in the books, 45 minutes left to go. So much to unpack. When we return after half-time, we'll take a look at the first half highlights and review the first half of play. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. Time now to take a look at... Welcome back. Time now to take a look around the USL Championship in this week's Around the League presented by Home Telecom. And we'll start with the team of the week. Derek, we just had a glance at it, but what stands out to you there again this week?
As I said, I think it's having both sides of the conferences represented heavily in these teams of the week. I think because we support the eastern side, Lopez, it's a new club coming in, so for them to get any player into a team of the week is a good thing. The other ones is, the Nashville team with Mr. Wynn there. He's got his spot today, but every one of those players at Nashville is really trying to get an MLS spot for next year. And of course, Bustamante also had a goal and an assist in a 3-0 win against the 2-time USL champions Louisville City FC at the weekend. And Miller, the player of the week, of course. And we were just talking, the USL have had their mid-season meetings this past weekend along with the MLS All-Star Game. Is that something that you would like the USL to do in the near future? I think it's certainly something they've got to look at, isn't it? Now the league is growing. I think the league warrants its own All-Star Game. And I'm sure there's many foreign teams who are visiting America during their pre-season would love to come and play us. And I'm sure it'll be a great game. If it's not on the agenda, I'm sure it'll be put on very soon. Always exciting things happening around the USL Championship. Join us next week for the Around the League.
Now get some time. Sam Warner, the beauty. From distance, on the way and in! Goal, Las Vegas Lights! And Taylor with a beautiful strike. Are you kidding?
Yeah, we'll go for goal. Oh my goodness.
Chants, hey, keep moving forward here. I feel like we're close, but it's all about the process. Make sure you're doing the little things right.
It's part of the community. I think it's not a mistake that you drive anywhere in the city and you'll see that, the Red Kickers K. I was certainly honored to play for the club and understand it's just a part of the city.
We're the longest continuously run professional soccer team in the country, which is pretty cool. We had Charleston Battery beat by one day. We played on a Friday night. In '93, they played on a Saturday. We take great pride in that.
There's a really good structure in place, and there has been a really good structure in place for a long time now, even from when I was back here as a youth player. The coaching staff, the culture, the way things are done at the Kickers is at the highest level. Everyone's committed, everyone's 100% in.
We have a really strong locker room and everybody really wants to do well for the club, and they believe in me and believe in the club and respect the history that we have as a club. So it's been a lot of fun so far, just kind of getting this group together.
Alfaro, completely on his own, outnumbered, takes one touch, takes another, fantastic trickery. What a finish! Came to America in 2013 to play soccer at the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, a really small school about 2 hours away from here. Absolutely loved it, and throughout my time there, I knew that I really wanted to get into soccer broadcasting. And during my senior year, I thought I'd just about emailed every single team in America. And I went to cover an event for a local news station, and they had a connection. Ended up having an interview on a Wednesday with our owner here, and I started that Saturday. So I actually started working here just before I graduated on the first match of the season 2 years ago. So a bit of a whirlwind, but absolutely loved it. So when I first started at the Battery, I was a sideline reporter. When our play-by-play announcer left, our owner said, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll give it a go." So it kind of all stemmed from there. And I really did think when I initially took it over, I thought it was going to be very temporary. I thought I'll be doing this for maybe 1 or 2 weeks before we get someone in, and now still doing it. And it's definitely taken a lot of time to grow and get used to, but I really enjoy it. In college, there were so many people that I looked up to in the TV world. And then ever since I started working at the Battery, you're looking at these people every single day, and there's never really now a broadcast that I watch where I don't learn something from one of these people. And I think there's a few that I really admire in the industry, for hosting, of course, Rebecca Lowe and Kay Murray, for sidelining, Laura Rutledge, Katie Witham, and I absolutely love Kate Abdo. So there's so many different people, and then obviously for commentary, that's a whole different thing. And I think every time I've watched a football game since I started doing this, I'm always writing down new phrases on my phone or something. If I hear something that I like, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. So I feel like I'll never watch the game the same again ever since I've started doing it. But there's so many different influences, and I really do learn something different from everybody that I watch. Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It's half-time here between the Charleston Battery and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. And Derek, the Battery only home for a flying visit. They are hitting the road for their next 2 upcoming USL Championship matches. starting with next Saturday when they take on St. Louis at Toyota Stadium.
Yeah, I think this is just the fact of getting them back on track playing games. You know, they've had a long layoff with all these rain delays and obviously the unfortunate situation last week. So I think the fact they're on the road is not going to be the issue. It's going to be getting back to playing a regular schedule of games. But St. Louis is a very good team. They're coming to terms this year with the league, and I think it's going to be a very tough game on the road for the Battery.
And of course, St. Louis just sitting one spot behind the Battery in the Eastern Conference and just 2 points behind the Black and Yellow. So a big matchup in the East as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. This one's going to have a big bearing on the where they finish up in terms of in playoffs, out of playoffs. And I think both teams will really be pushing for that playoff spot.
They'll then remain on the road to take on Loudoun United, who just pulled out a massive result against Louisville City, the two-time reigning champions, last weekend, and the Battery get to visit them in their new stadium.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a bigger event for both teams. You know, for the Battery, again, it's another new venue to go to. I'm sure they'll be very excited to go there. And, you know, whenever you go to a new stadium, everything's top-notch. But I think, again, it's a team that they're coming to terms with as well, and I think it'll be another very tough game on the road for the Battery.
And you can see that one on Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. at Kickoff. Mark your calendar. Well, this week in the player spotlight, the one we want to highlight, it's Joe Kosminski.
Yeah, Joe had a real good season statistically last year and really established himself as the #1 at the Battery. This year his stats probably don't look as good, but he's still having a very, very good season. He's making good saves. He's not made as many clean sheets necessarily, but it's not necessarily down to him. But most importantly for me is I think the way his distribution's getting better. He's starting to command his box a lot more, and he's starting to become a true leader and actually getting used to being the #1 goalkeeper.
And of course, he has started every single USL Championship match this season so far. Phil Brino starting in the Cup games. Well, we're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back, we'll have second half action from MUSC Health Stadium. It's the Charleston Battery taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies. We'll be back in a mo. Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It's halftime here between the Tampa Bay Rowdies and the Charleston Battery. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Thank you for joining us for tonight's game wherever you are. This game is brought to you in part by WCIV. Well, Derek, a half to forget for the Charleston Battery, and it started from the very beginning in the first minute when Lucky M. Kasona got on the score sheet.
Yeah, it couldn't have been a worse possible start for the Battery. They came out within the first 50 seconds. They're 1-0 down. and after such a long break that they've had, and then it went from bad to worse. Within about 4 minutes now, they're 2-0 down, and this is bad because they had plenty of chances to clear this ball, and again, they're just not quick enough to get around the ball, and boom, then they're 2-0 down. Then they start to play their way back in. Here's Piggott here, puts a great ball across. Higashi just couldn't get there in time. And then this is the last thing you need, a little bit of a goalkeeping error by Kuzminski. He just got too much underneath it. But to be fair to the battery, even 3-0 down, that they still show they can create chances. And if Mike Anhauser, that's what he'll be clinging to for this second half. Look, we've got the player, we've got him behind them. We've got some creative players. The sending off obviously is going to have an impact on the game the longer the game goes on. But as I said, I think the first 10 minutes of this game is crucial. Can we get back into the game? Can we create some chances? And then let's see where we go from there.
Zach Steinberger, the man in the middle to get us underway for the second 45 minutes. And Derek, we briefly spoke about Neil Collins. I'm sure very pleased with his team's performance in the first 45. But if you're Mike Anhauser, what do you think that team talk in the locker room looked like at half-time?
I think a lot of it is, you don't really have to do too much talking, do you? That's the thing, you don't have to. You go in there, the players know they're professionals. I think that Tampa's got just a harder motivation for the second half now. That they're 3-0 up away, down to 10 men. Their attitude's going to be absolutely have to be spot on here, because you give a team a little goal here and there, and they get back into the game. They've got everything to lose now, Tampa Bay, so they'll need to be very professional, really work on their shape. They won't want to concede. They'll want to try and keep this clean sheet away from home and keep their run going. So yeah, I mean, the first 10 minutes is really going to dictate what happens with this game.
Steinberger, the battle is there with Leland Archer. It goes in favour of the Rowdies. Just one substitution at the half, and it came from Mike Anhauser. Kotaro Higashi making way for Jay Bolt, who is just returning from injury. A big 45 ahead of him for his first game back.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be pleased to have him back. He's a very versatile player. Not the game I think he would have wanted to come into and get his, game legs back underneath him. But yeah, he'll give everything he can to the team, and a good substitution by Mike Anhauser, because he does bring energy to the proceedings with Jay Bolt.
Ball whipped into the top of the box. Kasona trying to lay it off. Falls for Malik Johnson, who takes a touch inside. It's a dangerous one, and the Rowdies 4-0 up.
And that's really a nail in the coffin there for the battery now, conceding this early in the half. And again, they haven't had to work too hard there, and Nunga's got good pressure on the ball. Jay Bolt's just been there. Again, they've got an extra man in there. And I think it's there. Leyland Archer's too far wide there. He hasn't got in tight enough. And as I said, now, if you're the Charleston battery, now you might have to refocus now. Do we just sit in? They certainly don't want this being a 5, a 6, a 7, and 8, one of those games. And at Leyland Archer, he's just caught between two players. He hasn't come in. Maybe a midfield player's guilty not dropping back in there. But that's the worst possible start for this second half. And as I said, the first 10 minutes is going to dictate what the crowd's going to see till the end.
Zach Steinberger with his third goal of the season for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And hands on hips for the Charleston battery down below, who have got a mountain to climb for the remainder of tonight's match. Looking to get us back underway, it's Zico Lewis. Van Schaik.
Sometimes as teams, you just have that bad day at the office, and that's what it's starting to look like now for the Charleston battery. Now they won't want this to get out of hand. Now the professional attitude might be, we ain't going to get back in this game. What we need to do is make sure that we don't get a thumping here.
Murad into the mix, and Unga's there. Guenzati battling with Mueller. Steinberger now. A good switch at the flank. Leo Fernandez in acres of space. Archer rushing to him. It's Fernandez who takes a touch. Is brought down. Referee waves play on. Piggott looking to combine with Angelo Kelly. Ralph's mob having a fantastic day. Some travelling fans on the far side. Bolt.
I think the battery, it's not been their general play. It's when they lose possession quickly, they look very exposed at the back, which is so unlike them, because they are normally so solid in defence. It's it's certainly different to see them struggling in that area.
Kelly. Out wide for Archer. Archer with greenery in front of him. He's going to whip one to the back post. Bolt puts it in the danger spot. Nobody lurking around the penalty spot. Jared Van Schaik.
So it's when play breaks down at the battery up there, like now, look. If Tampa Bay can break quickly, they just don't get enough bodies behind the ball and get back into shape like they normally do. And as I said, ever since I've been commentating, the battery have always had great shape. And tonight they're just struggling to get back in there on a regular basis. First time I've ever seen them get exposed, particularly at home.
Like we mentioned, the Rowdies been firing on all cylinders so far this season. They're back to the top of the Eastern Conference, edge and edge with New York Rebels, who won last night and took the #1 spot just for a brief 12 hours.
All teams, in general, most teams are going to lose games, especially at this level. And Collins must be absolutely delighted with what he's seen from his team tonight. The attitude of them, they come out, from the start. That defeat's been erased, it's been put in the box, and they've definitely corrected that.
Neil Collins still busy down below, dishing his instruction out. Has to trot across to the far side. Jay Bolt on your screen there. Derek, obviously we've mentioned it throughout the broadcast, but just how difficult is it to come into a game like this against the top of the conference, having only played one match last month?
No, and now, the answer to your question now is it's not been good, has it? It's the layoff hasn't paid off. It's, they probably needed a game somewhere along the lines. As I said, it wasn't like having time off. They travelled to these games and the weather did it. They travelled last week and they had that sort of like mental, negativity that around them with the crash that they're involved in. So that's had an impact, But as I said, break can sometimes work for or against you, and obviously in this case it hasn't worked for the Battle.
We'll now have a heavy September coming up after this month, with 7 games in just 4 weeks to make up from the lack of games they've had as of late. So really back-to-back stuff lays ahead for them.
I think that, after this performance, I think they'll enjoy that. I think they'll want to get straight back out there, get back on the bike, as they say, after falling off and put it right. There's a lot of discipline in these, they're very professional, they don't like getting beat. They'll play this game out and they'll get, they said now they're thinking, can we just get a goal just to get their spirits up?
A good ball to Boshua. Boshua gets the flick on, he's brought down in the penalty spot. The referee is waving for offside. Tell you what though, Arthur Boshua looking dangerous up top.
Yeah, and Robinson was at all at ends there, wasn't he? It's very high for him to collapse it. It's not a great cross by Taylor Muir, but he's just thrown himself in there, Boshua. And I always think their goalkeepers get protected. Sometimes I think those can actually be fouls against the on the goalkeeper and fouls against them, so I should say. Crowd's very quiet now, and it was a big crowd. They were up for this game, and that 4th goal really put a dagger through the heart, if you like, for this crowd now. So now they're looking for consolation stuff.
Jared Van Schaik out the back. Anunga. Anunga always really the catalyst in the middle of the park. He's been trying to get things going. Just hasn't really happened so far for the Battery tonight. Nicely left for Archer, who can't quite beat Fernandez. Battery on the front foot, into Boshua. Boshua at the top of the box. Can he break away? The referee again waving play on. Lewis. Yellow shirts surround them at the back by Murad.
That's the difference in the two sides. Even though they're 4 goals up, their defensive shape by Tampa Bay is fantastic. Now they've got that extra player as well, so they can afford to leave one out, but they're all back behind the ball in great shape.
2 on the run. Zico Lewis does enough to keep it in bounds. Across the box it goes. Again, no white shirt to greet the end of it.
Lewis, yes, fantastic skill what he done there when he's taking it down and volleying it in one movement. And now this is what I'm saying, they're exposed now, the battery again.
Steinberger ushered off by Anunga. The referee giving a free kick there. Brian Anunga just furious. And I think you can understand why on that occasion, Derek.
I don't think that was a foul by Brian Anunga. He's got to be very careful because he's also on a booking as well. But again, I think it's just his strength here. We'll see it now. Look, he's the wrong side now. But I think the referee's giving him for the charge because he was the wrong side. But I don't see too much wrong in that. I think the referee's even just the free kick a lot closer to the goal, making it a lot more dangerous set piece in there now. Joe Kuzminski, as I said, he's got to organise his walk.
Every battery player, bar Zico Lewis in the mix. Fernandez over the dead ball. Looks like it might be his left foot with this one. Boku also there as an option, but it will be Fernandez with the straight strike. Once again, it hits the frame. Steinberger this time over the top of the bar. And I tell you what, Derek, that was a hold your breath moment for the battery fans around us.
Great free kick, but it was even more worrying was Steinberger was on his own and got a second chance, and that's what I'm saying tonight. It's so unusual to see these battery teams struggling defensively. Again, now sometimes that's attitude, it's application. What was worrying that Steinberger got that second chance. He's put it over the bar, wasted a really good opportunity.
Boshua flicks on the aerial. Lewis for Bolt. Just that slight disconnect that we've been seeing all game from Mike Anhauser's side. Just unfortunate in the build-up.
You have to be very careful when you commentate on these games when things like this happen. The battery have yet to lose at home. Okay, they've had a really unusual schedule for a month. They've missed games. Again, I don't know if I've ever heard of a team having a problem going to a game. So to play one game in 3-4 weeks, and with the travel and all that, it is very, very, very unusual. And as I said, what they'll need is a few more games. Let's look at this again with Jay Bolt. And the players definitely lost control of the ball there, and Jay Bolt can't be doing too much wrong there to get out of the way.
See why Mike Anhauser's frustrated down below. But back to your point, Derek, it's just so unusual, the circumstances that the battery have had as of late.
Yeah, and so I think it's a blip. It's something that you look at. You can harp on about it, but as I said, Monday can't come quick enough for the coaches. I'm sure they'll want to get back on track with there's nothing better than having games coming forward now where you can just put this one result out of the way and then get back into your rhythm and start playing again. And I'm sure that's what the focus will be for the battle.
Just one change so far from Mike Anhauser's side. Looks like Neil Collinson's getting ready to make his first substitution of the match. Guenzati finds some space at the top of the box. Guenzati with the strike, can't get over it.
Collins will be making substitutions for completely different reasons to Mike Anhauser. He's going to be resting players. The game, we're nearly at the hour mark. The game's almost won. He'll see the game's won. He won't be looking to lose it from here. So he'll be looking to give some people some valuable minutes.
Kuzminski, big ball out of the back. Doherty on his own in the middle. Archer. Way home to Kuzminski.
I was going to say that Tampa have done a really good job. They've left their two up front. They've pushed people forwards. They've really tried to pin the battery in.
Zico Lewis, brilliant trickery. Still Zico Lewis is dancing around the yellow. One touch too many. And here comes Steinberger. Back to Mkasana. One-on-one, Mueller, Steinberger. Mueller out on top. Captain to the rescue. And also, we talk about the conditions out here tonight. Nice to not have rain on Daniel Island, but very deceivingly warm temperatures. Still 80 degrees out there at almost 9 o'clock. Boshua on his own. Late run flying in, and it's still Arthur Boshua. And now it will be a free kick for the Battery at the top of the box. Good positioning this for Zico Lewis.
Yeah, this is a good Zico Lewis territory here now. Look, Boshua, he does brilliant there. I think that's a foul, the first one. He doesn't get it, all he does is try and get his body there, and as I said, you know, that's a clear foul.
Neil Collins on your screen there, the former Tampa Bay Rowdies player turned coach in his first full season as head coach, second overall. And here comes Zico Lewis, the Bermudan international. Numbers in the box for the Battery. Can they start to turn the tide in the 60th minute? Some height in the box. Uriah, Malik Johnson and Angelo Kelly, the referee, just having a word there. Some pushing and shoving going on. And here it is, Zico Lewis takes a deflection from the wall. Johnson out the back. Guenzati.
Professional foul there by Taylor Mueller there. He knew his team was struggling to get back in shape.
Here comes that substitution. This time it's going to be from Mike Anshauser's side. Dante Marini making his way in. Zico Lewis will finish his shift right there.
Zico, you know, I think it's one of the games now, you know, he's very creative, Zico, isn't he? And I think that's a sensible substitution there. He doesn't want to get him frustrated. He's a very, very good player. It's not happening for his team tonight. So put Marini in there and just let him get on the ball. And he's a good retention player, isn't he? He can keep the ball, he's busy. Different type of player. So now, you know, Coach Anhauser's definitely showed his cards there. You know, let's not get, you know, let's not let the floodgates open. We'll probably create a few chances, but they just now, let's not get thumped.
And Kasana. The ball out wide. Fernandez with time, whips one into the box. Kasana's there. You can see just a bit of frustration from Jared Van Schaik. A yellow card. Lucky M. Kasana is in the books. Now things just starting to get a bit chippy down there, Derek.
And that's going to happen now. Frustration spills over. As I said, if you're Neil Collins now, you just want to like, you know, the game should be won. You just want to get out. No injuries, no silly cards, no bookings. Battery players will, you know, they're going to fight for everything now just to make sure that they don't lose any more goals. And keep it respectable.
And talking of the substitution with Dante Marini, if there is ever a man with the name Super Sub, it is that man down there. 3 goals on the season, 3 game winners. See if he can find the back of the net off this substitution here tonight.
Yeah. Safe to say, I don't think we'll get the game winner tonight.
You never know, Derek, you never know. Time is on the clock still. And I will also be very surprised. Anunga has Van Schaik with him. Jared Van Schaik trying to get involved in the attack. Pigott, time and space in the middle. Ground ball to Marini. Dante Marini, what a brilliant strike! A moment of magic from the substitute.
It would have been a nice goal, that one. It was on his weaker foot. He's just spun inside. You can see he's trying to pick out the top corner there. It's a great little roll here. Look, there it is. And he's just not too far away.
Marini had the last game-winning goal in the Battery's last match against Hartford Athletic. The 3-2 thriller. Macklin Robinson out the back, who you've got to say hasn't had too much to do tonight. We've not had to call his name too many times. Guenzati brought down in the midfield, and now it looks like Jared Van Schaik. Taylor Mueller will be into the books.
That's one of the downsides, really, for that. You know, if you keep moaning the referee there, look, you know, this is definitely a foul. you know, it's a foul. I'm not sure again. I'm not sure it's a yellow card, but if you're moaning at the referee and you're groaning at him and you do anything silly like that, you know, he's gonna take his frustration back out.
Now Lucky Mkasona making his way off. Was looking for a hat-trick tonight, but he'll end there with 2 goals in tonight's match. Jaime Siaj making his way in for his 3rd appearance of the season. He's looking to get his gear going with his 1st season in Tampa, and he'll join Gwenzati up top for the remainder of tonight's game.
He'll certainly be looking for a debut goal, won't he? Or not his 1st goal, not a debut goal, his 1st goal.
Spent 2018 and 17 in the USL Championship, one with OKC, the other with Charlotte Independence. Robinson gives a touch to Kone. Angelo Kelly on the run. A free kick given in the middle of the park.
If you are Mike Annenhauser, you'll be happy with the application of your players. You know, they're 4 down. They could just shut up shop, but what they do, you see Angelo Kelly still chasing. The fact they're giving away free kicks is not such a bad thing from a coach, because, you know, they're still competing. And I think most coaches would rather see that than a team just like back off, not care. So, you know, that's pleasing signs. You've got to look for every little positive you can when you're in games like this.
Kone has done a nice job in Papa Dikete's position tonight, who's out on yellow card accumulation. Prior to this game had played every minute he's been available for this season. Here's the substitute, Siaj, all the way to the back post, kept in bounds. Angelo Kelly first there. Not the way he wanted it to go. That'll be a corner for the visitors.
Just used the wrong foot there, and he used his right foot where probably should have just turned and looked at it. He didn't really know what the call was. If Gashy would have done that for the 2nd goal, we might have not been where we are now. If in doubt, just give it out.
All the way across to this near side. The Tampa Bay Rowdies in no rush to get us back underway. Leo Fernandez has Malik Johnson there by his side. Fernandez goes into the box, a dangerous one, bounces all the way through. Nobody wanting to get on the end of it, falls back for Fernandez. Offside is the call. Kuzminski will come to take.
If you're Tampa Bay, you'll see this as a massive result. Not many teams come here and get results, let alone get the type of results that we're seeing tonight. So I'm sure they'll use that to their full advantage, and it's a big statement of intent of where they see their season going, Tampa Bay, when they can come to a place like MUSCL Stadium, take on a battery team that really does do well at home. So go away with this sort of performance is massive. I'm sure that's what Collins will be telling his team.
Tampa Bay Rowdies have never won here in Charleston. The battery up 4-1 and 2 against the Rowdies all time. You said it'd be a massive win for them here tonight. Doherty.
They're a good team, aren't they? You know, they've got a good shape about them. They've got players. They've got an energy. You know, they've got a discipline about them. And as I said, not many teams come here, take it to the battery from start to finish, and up until now, you know, as I said, both starts of both halves, they've come out, made a statement of intent, and done it very, very well. Steinberg has done fantastically well, you know, in midfield. They've looked solid at the back, and as you said, Robertson really hasn't had a couple of crosses he's had to come and get. He hasn't had to do to him.
These two teams met earlier this season at Al Lang Stadium. A 1-1 draw was the final result there. Gwenzati and Ian Sconterson, who's available for selection tonight off the bench. Kelly there. Van Schaik looking for Boshua. Rowdies will win in the midfield. Poku threads, one out wide. Fernandez there. Forced to come inside.
Home fans will almost be shocked at this result. You know, as I said, it's, it'll be interesting to see how far you'd have to go back to see the Battery losing 4-0 here at this stadium. I'm sure you'd have to go back a few seasons to see that. One, to concede that amount of goals, not score a goal. As I said, it certainly brings more attention to their build-up over the last month and the impact that it's had. So, midway through the season, there's a lot of people that call for mid-term breaks, but maybe it's an example where maybe players do like to keep playing, don't they? I'm sure at some point Coach Anhausen, I think it's going to happen now. Swanson's probably going to come on for Boschua. Boschua's, I think, has done fantastically well tonight. His application, his attention to detail, his running around, his work ethic's been great. Now a great opportunity to give him a rest. Get Swanson's up there, give him some minutes and see if he can make a change.
Svanterson, the one to pull his jersey on down below, having a word with the assistant coach, Dusty Hudok, who ranks 4th in all-time appearances, will closely be overtaken by Taylor Mueller in the near future. And Anunga brought down there a brilliant bit of trickery from the midfielder. And frustration really just starting to show for him, who's been brought down one too many times down below us.
As I said, he's a big, powerful player, and sometimes when he just gets it slightly wrong, it looks bad, and he ends up giving away free kicks and gets bookings. But he takes a lot of those fouls as well, and nothing really gets done. But again, he's probably guilty of being too strong.
Boschua. Archer with a good press. This is the error. Kelly for Marini. Marini at the top of the box. No real path through, but he'll take the strike regardless. No worries for Macklin Robinson.
Great attitude by Marini. He's come on. He's only been on 10 minutes, and he's had 2 good strikes there, both one on target, one slightly off target. So he's making an impact. He's using this as a chance to showcase himself to the coach.
Kuzminski. Only player for Mike Anhausen to have started every single match so far this season. 4 clean sheets on the year so far.
For coaches and fans, it's very important that you take this game in perspective. The Battery haven't lost at home all year. This game's gone. They're still trying to play. They've had a long time off, but they won't. This will just be a little blip. This is it's probably better than losing 1-0 in the last minute a game like this. So I'm sure it's going to be a big challenge for them now to pick it up. But they've got games coming thick and fast. I'm sure that the coaching staff will be relishing getting them to training next Monday.
Anunga with a brilliant energy out there tonight. That's going to be a corner for the Battery as Mike Anhausen makes the substitution. Ian Svanterson coming in. Arthur Boschua, the man to make way for him. And Arthur Boschua been knocking at the door on several occasions tonight. He's been unlucky not to find the back of the net. Here comes the 6'6" striker, Ian Svanterson. Perfect height for Romario Pigot's delivery into the box. An in-swinger from this near side. Looping ball to the back post. Mueller first there. Kelly looking to inject in the far side. Anunga opts for Van Schaik. Brian Anunga in his 3rd season with the Battery, the 2018 MVP. You mentioned has had a bit of a drought of playing minutes as of late, trying to serve his 1-game suspension, which ultimately took 5 weeks for him. Kelly forced all the way across the park. J-Bolt. contrast to your point, good defensive shape from the Rowdies yet again, Derek.
No, as I said, you know, they've been excellent tonight. You know, as I said, you know, they're very much on their game. You know, they've scored their goals, but you know, now I'm sure they've been told now, you know, just keep the shape and we'll be fine. And that's exactly what they've done. Great discipline.
Guenzati has Siage with him, but he'll take it on his own. Steinberger joining the mix.
Again, this is the discipline of, again, I think, you know, I work with young players and, you know, look at it now, they're 4-0 up. It would be easy to take shortcuts now, but look at them, they're all back in. The midfield players are in. Doherty, Poku, they're all back in there. They've got great shape and they're making it harder and harder for this 10-man battery team to even try and break them down.
Marini. Svantesson is there. Coney with a big task on his hands. Maybe Svantesson.
As I said, you've got to be careful not to run away with results like this. You know, sometimes, you know, things just don't go your way. And I'm sure the battery, players, coaching staff, and even Tampa Bay, they'll be realising now, you know, now we're getting to this last 15 minutes, they know the game's won. They'll just want to get out of here with no injuries, hopefully a clean sheet, no hiccups. And they won't dwell too much on this either. They'll know it's a great result. It could definitely spark off, you know, where their intent is for the rest of the season.
Another substitute coming from Neil Collins. Out comes Zach Steinberger. In comes Andrew Tenari. Another busy player in the middle of the park. A like-for-like substitution. You've got to say Derek Steinberger's put in quite the shift tonight.
No, he's been a very good player. You know, he's been one of many bright players for this Tampa team. And as I said, it's, you know, he's typified what they've done tonight. He's worked particularly hard. He's been very disciplined. He's been good on the ball. And as I said, he'll be very happy with his performance tonight.
Andrew Tenari, in his first season with the Rowdies, spent the last 2 years with New York Red Bulls too, won the championship. Attended Columbia University. Actually was teammates with Arthur Boschua, who just made his way off a couple of minutes prior to him coming on.
Said, you know, the first 10 minutes of the second half was always going to be crucial, wasn't it? And you know, the goal really has killed the game as a spectacle. To be fair to the battery, you know, they've stuck at it, they continue to try and play, and you know, they've come up against a very, very good Tampa Bay. You can see why they're, you know, top of the division. You can see why they're on a good run. Confidence is high. You can see why they're not getting beat too often. Great discipline. Colleagues, you know, you'll be very pleased with tonight. You know, the response you've got from this team after their second defeat, that's the most pleasing thing for a coach, not the fact you win 4-0, it's the way you've won it. You know, because I'm sure this wasn't an easy place for him to come after losing this game. And, you know, you lose 2 games in it on the spin, it becomes a very, you know, it starts to put doubt in players' minds, but this is a great answer to that.
The Rowdies will return home to Al Lang Stadium after this road stretch next weekend to take on Birmingham Legion. The battery, like we mentioned at half-time, will hit the road for their next 2 games, starting with St. Louis next week, followed by Loudoun United, who last weekend handed the 2-time USL reigning champions a 3-0 win at Audi Field. Richards goes long to Guenzati. Tenari. Good ball out wide for Malik Johnson. Johnson around Jay Bolt, takes a touch inside. Malik Johnson, it takes a deflection. And a corner coming up. He set himself up on a tee there.
Yeah, and you can see there again, that's the, you know, how often have you seen that with a batteries like got, you know, only 5 at the back and there's like the rest of them. So you'll see that Jay Bolt's come from the wrong side again. Look at the big gap in between. Look, it's Angelo Kelly in there. Where's Taylor Mueller? You know, they're definitely disorganised right now. It's all to do with focus and shape, and you know, all them hours of doing real work and focusing on that. You know, that's when you need to draw on that.
Malik Johnson, an in-swinger from the far side. The Rowdies opting to keep a couple of players back now. Another good delivery, Kuzminski catching practice in the box.
Joe Kuzminski, that's a great take considering what happened earlier in the game. He'll be really pleased with that. Shows his confidence is back.
Marini, a good touch to Svanteson, back to Marini. Marini heading straight for goal. Held up in the midst, but finds Svanteson. Svanteson takes the deflection, and Macklin Roberts does enough.
And Marini will be very pleased. He's come into a game where really he had everything to prove, and he's done very well. He's done well. Swanson, that's good for his confidence. Marini's had 3 or 4 bright spots already. He's only been on the field 15, 20 minutes. Swanson there shows his intent. So, you know, they realise some players, when they come on as subs in these games, see these as a real opportunity to get some real starting minutes.
Macklin Robinson hasn't had too much to do tonight, but when his name's been called, he's answered.
That's better from the battery there. Look at that shape there. They've got like their 2 banks of 4. That's about the best shape they've had all through the game. Now they've just got to stick to their task and mark their players.
Oku, the Ghanaian international, working with Tanari in the middle. Mueller at the back. 10 minutes left to go from MUSC Health Stadium. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match. Bolt into Anunga. Anunga deals with it well. Gets his pocket picked almost by Poku.
It's a hard ball for him to take there. Jay Bolt's put him right under pressure there, but he's done fantastically well just to keep it.
Leland Archer. Uses control. Fernandez comes out on top. Guenzati.
It's that transition now, that's when the battery look vulnerable. Now that players are in front, so they're chasing from the wrong side. They've given away a few sloppy fouls. Just got to make sure they get behind the ball and keep the game in front rather than chasing it from behind.
Kone. Done a nice job of anchoring the 3-man back line. Murad. You know, all things considering, Derek, in the second half, the battery's playing with 10 men, but if you're just joining us, would you necessarily know that?
No, not really, but I mean, as I said, professional players know, don't they? I mean, the goal that set the tone was the 4th goal. The battery come out, you know, if they can get a little sniff, couple of chances, you know, they can come back in the game. The 4th goal is a killer. Tampa Bay know it, the battery know it, and now you just got to play the game out. Johnson
leading 1 through for Andrew Tanari. Tanari straight across, and that is 5 for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. An absolute field day for the visitors.
Again, it's, you know, there's 4 battery players around there, and they've got 1, and he scores. And again, it's good build-up play. We'll get to see it again. So here we go. Look, great play. It's a great little ball in, but look, there's 1, 2 battery players are outnumbered, but Saeed just gets in there and scores the goal. So, as I said, defensively tonight, the battery haven't looked great, and that's really goes against what the home crowd's expecting of this team. And as I said, certainly a reflection of what they've had to endure over the last month. And I said now the battery players will just be wanting to hear that final whistle, get off and move on from this.
For the Rowdies, they've put 4 in the back of the net twice this season so far, but this is their biggest win if the scoreline remains the same or anything more than this season. Neil Collins has to be delighted down below.
If you're one of them travelling fans, you know what a journey it's going to be home now. You know they've done fantastic. Their team's done great. They've been thoroughly entertained. Look at it. If you look there, look to the far end. If we were to see both sets of supporters, you've got one that are having a party and one that looks like someone's just died. So.
Macklin Robinson. And it looks like Neil Collins is getting ready to make his 3rd substitution of tonight's match. The final man getting ready to make his way in, Ryan Felix down below. Johnson for Tenari, finds its way to Gwenzati. Andrew Tenari once again. Mueller works out the back. Tenari battling with him.
Taylor Mueller has to be careful because he's on a yellow card as well. And that's just pure frustration from the captain. He should know better. He's on a yellow card. That's the last thing he wants to do. No player now. This game's done. It's finished. No one else needs to get a yellow card. No one else needs a red card. And any player that does is just silly. Both teams have just got to accept that's the result. It's going to move on and get out of here with no further damage.
And here is Ryan Felix making his way into the match. Spent last season with San Antonio FC on the West Coast. 16 appearances for them. Prior to that was in the Eastern Conference with Rochester Rhinos. A real wealth of USL experience. And it's Leo Fernandez to make his way off. Fernandez third in the Eastern Conference with crosses this season, and he has been very good tonight. Here's another look at Tenari with Mueller.
Taylor Mueller should know better there. He's a very experienced player at this level. That's just pure frustration. To be fair, his hands were down. He didn't go aggressively, but he knows better than that.
Marini all the way back to the captain. Just under 5 minutes left to play here in Charleston, South Carolina. Kelly outnumbered in the midfield. Does well to try and keep hold of it there, and does just enough. Well done by Angelo Kelly. Bolt battling with Malik Johnson.
And again, as much as that's a foul, you might, Anna, you're pleased that his team's still ready to compete. Jay Bolt is that natural competitor, isn't he? He's not going to let anyone do that, even regardless of the score. Angelo Kelly's got a bit of trouble now. That's the last thing they'll need. They've used up their 3 subs. They won't want to go down to 9. This is one of these situations that if it was a boxing match, the referee would probably stop it now. A towel would be thrown in. But
everybody taking a moment to get some hydration on board. Bobby Weisenberger of MUSC help there, taking brilliant care of the players as always.
In this situation, if it's serious enough to bring him out, you might need to just bring him out, or just have a little shuffle, put Swanson back in, let him stay on the field, stay up top. But, with what, 5 minutes left, bit of maybe 3 minutes of injury time.
Mike Anhauser sat on the bench down below. And if you are Mike Anhauser, how do you recover from this match to prepare for next weekend?
I think, honestly, you have to just put it down to a bad day. You just say, you know what, lads, it wasn't there. We're back into the swing of things. They go back to doing what they're doing. And now it happens a second or a third time, then you've got a worrying aspect. But, you can see this is an absolute freak result for this team. They've not been beaten at home. They've come out tonight, it started off badly, and as I said, I don't want to keep harping on, but when you don't play for 3 weeks, it can go one of 2 ways, and then tonight, obviously, it hasn't gone the way they would have liked. I think they've got a few games ahead of them that come in thick and fast. What you say, 7 games in the next month, so that's going to give them plenty of time to get back into their rhythm and get back on track.
Not been the most ideal night at the office for the Battery by far, but it is time to select the Heineken man of the match. So Derek Broadley, who is your man of the match for tonight's game?
I think, and despite, them struggling as well, but I still think Anunga, Tar Bryan, he hasn't changed his game, has he? He does the same things whether he's winning 5-0 or losing 5-0 or it's 1-1. His application, his attitude, his athleticism, I think, he's done everything he can. His team hasn't done, as well. There's been instances in the game when he hasn't had the luck or whatever, but, he's committed lots of fouls. He's been on the other side, lots of fouls. He's been competitive. So I think Tar Bryan Anunga is going to be my Battery man of the match for tonight.
Tar Bryan Anunga, the Heineken man of the match for tonight's game. Just under 2 minutes left to play here from MUSC Health Stadium. Out wide. loose one to the back, but the Rowdies can deal with it. The Rowdies looking for their 10th clean sheet of the season. Will they get it? Leland Archer on the run, falls out wide. Romario Pigott across the box for Bolt. Jay Bolt now takes the strike. Straight into the forest behind the stadium. Like you said, a tough task for Jay Bolt, who's returning from injury, to come into a game of this intensity.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, when you've been out for a while, which he has been, I mean, you want to come in when your side's, you know, 3-0 up at home and you come back in and play. To come into a game at half-time when your team's 3-0 down, you're down to 10 men, you know, he's not the ideal to come in. But again, you know, Jay Bolt is Jay Bolt. He hasn't changed his way. He's battled a way through. You can see everything. He's done well. And as I said, the battery just have to go back, rethink about what they've been doing. As I said, their season has been very steady up until now. This is a freak result, probably for both teams. And sometimes that happens in soccer.
Leland Archer, the man down there below. So he took one to the jaw. Just signed his first professional contract in May of last year. He's really become a mainstay of Mike Anhauser's back line for this season. 4 minutes of added on time here from MUSC Health Stadium. Tanari. A high boot there from Kone. Jay Bolt very unhappy with that, as you can expect, Eric. Kone very lucky there to get away with one.
His feet was very high. It just depends. I mean, I was following the ball there. I didn't really see what went on. Maybe we caught it on the camera. His foot was over his head. I can see what, but I don't know if he's reacted or he just said something. The referee now will sort this out.
Let's have another look at it. Very high. Seeing slow-mo. Brilliant work from our cameras there.
Yeah. That's great camera angle. You can see Swanson's telling the referee. And it was Dante Marini, you know, him being that small. Normally, but you know, Jay Bolt, I mean, he's not the tallest Jay, but that foot was above his head.
Very uncharacteristic of Jay Bolt to complain. You can see him there shaking hands with Kone, but I can completely understand where Jay Bolt is coming from, Derek.
Yeah, no, he has.
To see on that replay.
Yeah, the referee's done well there. He's used a bit of common sense. We're in overtime, and as I said, you know, he's not going to take any action. He's just going to put it down to experience. I think so. Yeah, good common sense by the officiating crew there. You know, I think, is he going to give a drop ball? Yeah, he is. So sensible refereeing. His foot was high. As I said, at this stage of the game, no one needs to do anything silly now. Let's just play the game out, get home, start again. And as I said, you know, for this big crowd, it's just unfortunate they've seen like not a one-sided game, but you know, it's not been the best home spectacle for the Battery fans.
Swanson. It's the free kick from the pressure from Murad. Just under 1 minute left to go here now. Brian Anunga, the man to stand over the ball.
The referee will be very sensible now just to play out the game. Here's Robinson.
Bolt in the mix, but very well done by Macklin Robinson, who plays it quickly. Maybe time for one more attack from the Rowdies. And it won't be if Van Schaik has anything to do with it. Tanari into the box. Andrew Tanari. Straight at Joe Kuzminski.
It's that transition again, isn't it? They're all at C's there, the Battery players. Normally they're so disciplined. And that's been the thing for me tonight. Defensively, their defensive shape has not been good. And I think that's what's let them down tonight.
Van Schaik joins in the attack for the last couple of seconds. Svanteson takes the strike. Glenn Robinson there to answer the call.
Should do us something.
Well, Derek, it's been far from ideal for the Charleston Battery. Let's get your thoughts on tonight's match.
I mean, if you're the Battery, you have to just say bad day at the office, long layoff. Obviously, you know, that's had an impact. Let's get on with the game, and, you know, let's get the game. Next game can't come quick enough. Let's get back into it and see how we do.
That is full time from MUSC Health Stadium. The final score: Tampa Bay Rowdies 5, Charleston Battery 0. Lots to take a look at. And Derek will start from the beginning. It really started from the get-go. Let's take a look at tonight's highlights.
Yeah, started off first minute, less than a minute. Ball's played across. Nice easy tap in there. You know, now you start to think this is the one I think is the most worrying. Several chances to clear it, and they just don't, the Battery, and they're now all of a sudden they're 2-0 down. This typified the first half. Joe Kuzminski, it's an error. You know, he'll know that more than anyone else. 3-0 down. And then, you know, the Battery showed some glimpses, didn't they? Some, you know, Piggott got some good crosses in, but no real luck in front of goal. I'm not sure if we'll see the red card. We probably won't. Here's the fourth goal. This was right at the start of the second half, wasn't it? Yeah, you know, the first 10 minutes was going to be crucial. The fact they get it. And then they did get a fifth one here, Tampa Bay, just to rub salt into the wounds. But, yeah, the Battery will just have to lick their wounds, put this one behind them, get up and then get ready to get on the road and get their season back underway.
Ralph's mob over on the far side absolutely thrilled the travelling fans who have made the trip. It's been an absolute field day for Tampa Bay. Can the Charleston Battery bounce back? We will find out next weekend, but that is just about all we have time here from Charleston, South Carolina. On behalf of Poppy Miller, Derek Broadley, Matthew Peacock of production and the entire broadcast crew, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.